The Match 2024 interview season is well underway, and you may be wondering how it compares to prior seasons. Check out our new video where we discuss the application trends over the last 5 years for IMGs, AMGs, and DO applicants. We'll also look at the trends for the top IMG-friendly specialties and how this may have an effect on your chances to match. Follow us for more USMLE trends and tips and tricks on how you can match. Welcome to USMLE SART. We are committed to empowering IMGs. We're excited to guide you on your match journey. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get notified whenever we add new content. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the latest tips and tricks regarding everything USMLE. Now, let's dive into it. Hello, welcome to USMLE SART. We are so excited to guide you on your match journey. My name is Shayla. I'm the VP of Student Success here at USMLE SART, and with me, I have our Chief Mentor and Owner, Pawan Kira. We're going to go through this analysis of how the trends have changed for IMG-friendly specialties in the last 5 years. We've been just looking at the data and want to kind of compare that and give you an idea of what to expect for this season and for coming seasons. So anything you wanted to add before we get started?
Shayla has done an extensive analysis. So what we wanted to do was dive into that and primarily guide you for the next season, how the applications have been trending. So let's just dive in, Shayla.
Okay. Okay, there we go. So, yep, like we said, this is the application trend so far as of October 5th and kind of what it looks like for the ERAS. Okay, so this slide here is looking at, as you can see, we're looking at the DOs, the IMGs, and then the MDs or the AMGs, and kind of the trends over the last 5 seasons. You can note that ERAS 2021 is not there just because of COVID. That was a different time. The applications were extended, so we don't have the data for that year. So we can just exclude that season for the purposes of this report. So you can see that the IMGs you mainly want to focus on is on an upward trend, having over 17,000 applicants this year, the most that we've seen. While the MDs, kind of an upward trend, but the last couple of years have been downward. So that's kind of interesting that we're kind of on a slight downgrade the last couple of years with MDs applicants. So is there anything that we want to consider looking at this going into the future seasons, or what students should be looking for?
So as we can all see, AMGs, I would say, has been a slight decline. We'll have to see whether it's a secular decline or, they come back. IMGs consistently, more IMGs are applying overall, as you see over the last 4 or 5 seasons. The interesting trend is the DO trend. So DOs have been increasing as well. So we'll have to see, but the expectation is next season, more IMGs will apply if you just extrapolate the trend.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of continue to watch it. Okay, so this table is looking at just the changes from the last year. So 2023 to 2024, we have the change for IMGs, MDs, and DOs, and then overall. Divided by, we pulled out the 7 top IMG friendly specialties and kind of what those have looked like. So do you want to kind of go into the numbers here and talk about what that means?
So this is a very interesting table for our applicants who are going to be going into next season. So as you can see, internal medicine has really shown a growth, about 10% over last year. So more and more IMG applicants are applying to internal medicine, whereas MDs, you can see a slight decline, DOs about 2%, but primarily internal medicine applications the growth has been driven this season by IMGs, which we expect to continue. The not so surprising thing has been the emergency medicine, and the 81% or 82% over the last season for IMGs is driven off of a lower base. So the sudden spike in the emergency medicine from IMG stems from the fact that last season, about 550 spots went empty or vacant, and they were not filled. Now, emergency medicine historically has been a very AMG friendly specialty. It's not an IMG friendly specialty, but I think what happened was, as the spots went unfilled, a lot of IMGs are trying this year to see if they have a chance in emergency medicine. So that's where you see the biggest spike, the 81%. And same for the DOs, 43 or 44% increase is stemming from the fact that the 550 spots that were not filled last season. Coming to neurology is one of the specialties that continues to become more and more competitive. I think this is one specialty which has a very sound work-life balance, and it is slightly less forgiving on scores. It needs more research, but as the competition is increasing, it also is looking at more into scores. So you can see about 8% increase in IMGs this season compared to last, but across the three categories, more AMGs have applied and more DOs have applied. So overall, this is one that has seen all the three categories more application. Family medicine continues to decline for IMGs. The reason being, family medicine tends to shy away from visa, so they generally do not do H-1Bs or accept J-1. So while there are IMGs, there will be IMGs, but it's primarily either very recent graduates who need visa, or if you are a US citizen or green card holder, IMG, then family medicine may be the right one for you. American grads have been, or at least since last year, have applied less. DOs have applied less. So for next season, if you are not needing visa and you are an IMG, probably family medicine you could consider one of these specialties. Psychiatry has been interesting this season. Over the past few seasons, it had become very competitive for IMGs, but I think some of the similar reasons we can see here. Psychiatry is starting to look at step 3. It's starting to look at year of graduation more closely. MDs have increased, or American grads have applied more, DOs have applied more. So a combination of all these factors may have prevented less IMGs to apply. We'll have to see whether this trend continues, but in the last 3 or 4 seasons, psychiatry did become a lot more competitive. That may have just prevented more IMGs from applying. Peds overall has not grown as much, kind of stable, a decline of 2% in IMG. So I won't consider that as a big decline for IMGs. Although, as we can see, the AMGs have not applied this season. So a lot of trends in these specialties are driven by AMG. So we'll have to see whether it's the DOs that will take a chunk of spots this season or not. Pathology, 1.4% decline is not that big a decline. But yes, a lot of MDs or AMGs even last season had applied, and looks like this season about 13% more than last season, probably because of the work-life balance, better balance in pathology. Maybe they are moving into pathology, even DOs are going in. So we'll have to keep a close eye on pathology if it becomes more competitive for IMGs in the coming season.
Yeah, that's all really interesting data to kind of look at and consider when you're choosing which specialty you want to focus on too. So thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so then these are just some graphs to kind of look at that same sort of thing. So by specialty, we're looking at the last 5 years and how the trends have looked for each of them. So we have, this page is going to show us internal medicine, neurology, emergency medicine. And as you can see for IMGs, all 3 of those are on an upward trend for the last 5 years. Where AMGs are they're going kind of steady for internal medicine, kind of up for neurology, and then going down actually for emergency medicine. So that's really interesting. Any other thoughts you want to add here?
No, I think you summarized it well. So Good.
Okay, and then this one's looking at those other four. So pediatrics, family medicine, pathology, and psychiatry, same sort of thing. These are all on downward trends for IMGs. It looks like AMGs kind of following it here for peds, kind of steady for family medicine, a little slight up in pathology. So like you mentioned, we'll have to see how that trends. And then it looks like they're headed up for psychiatry, which we saw. So that'll be interesting to see over the next few years what the competition looks like between IMG and AMGs.
Yep.
So yep. Okay, and then the next, so now we're going to look at just IMG specifically. So instead of looking at the DOs and AMGs, we're going to see how the the IMGs have compared. So this is the average number of applications submitted per IMG by specialty. So we're looking just the average that one applicant will submit to. So you can see for EM, really interesting, as we were talking about, emergency medicine is on an upward tick on the number of applicants, but per applicant, it looks like the downward per program that they're applying to. So that's kind of interesting, I guess, to note. And then same sort of thing, IM is on an upward, neurology is upward trend, psych and pathology are kind of on an upward trend over the last 5 years. Where FM had a pretty big decline this year per applicant. PEDS is kind of staying steady the last few years. So yeah, do you think there's anything to note here as we're looking into the future seasons? What should students be considering?
Yeah, so the IM, some of the things, obvious things, number of IM programs continue to grow. So there are more than 600 programs, or I think it was 650 in this season. So the number of applications by an IMG in IM continue to grow, because of the number of programs are growing. So sports may be increasing a bit, and IM historically has been a very IMG friendly specialty. So that's the reason IM will continue to grow. But that also means the competition, will be there. EM has been interesting. It's very counterintuitive that, like you said, the IMGs, the number of IMGs has increased this season, but the applications that they put in are only at 51, on an average 51 or 52 programs. So that's something interesting. FM, the number of IMGs have been going down, and the applications, as you can see, has been a big decline, I would say, over the last season. So that's something. Neuro, of course, as becomes more competitive, and like we discussed, more IMGs are applying, and they're applying to more programs. So something to say with the competition. Pediatrics, I think it's kind of stable by IMG. So, about 60 is the average. Psychiatry, slight increase in the number of program, and IMG applies for. Pathology, maybe a slight increase. But again, the lessons from this, or what data tells us, is IM will continue to grow, or has been growing. So the number of programs you apply for, is a good indicator of some of these. So,
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, then we're going to look at some graphs per specialty. These are per the average applications received per program. So like this one, for example, is looking at just internal medicine. This last season, the internal medicine programs received an average of 2,274 applications from IMGs. So that's quite a bit of applications they're receiving to every single program. That's a big number. So just kind of noticing that per program, there's an upward trend here too. Just have to note that and recognize that. What do you want to know about, like, going forward? What can help IMGs to stand out despite all those numbers?
Yeah. So on the face of it, as you would expect, the competition in IM is increasing. The programs, as you can see, about 2275 applications by only IMG. So this is huge. So then you got to figure out, if you're applying next season in 25 or later, how can you differentiate yourself? So whether it is, doing strong electives, doing research, some of the volunteering activities, step 3 maybe. So this is something maybe you can get in touch with us. We have a lot of YouTube videos. We can help you identify how to differentiate yourself, especially when it comes to this internal medicine kind of thing, because programs will use filters to shortlist the applicant. It is not humanly possible for any program to, read 2,200 applications before they send out the interview. So where you do rotations, how do you prepare your entire portfolio, I think it will be very important for applicants next season.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be huge. Okay. So this is family medicine by program, similar that we've been talking about. It's on a downward trend, which was really interesting for AMGs as well. So just less applications per program, what could that mean for us for the next years?
Yeah, so again, like we discussed, less applications per program could signify a couple of things. One, you would think the competition is going less, which could be true, right? From 579 or 500 applications per program that they receive from IMGs, it's down to 389. So one is the competition is less. The type of IMGs applying to FM may be changing. So like we said, if you have a green card, citizenship, primary care experience, if you have all of these, a lot of volunteering experience, family medicine would still be one of the specialties as an IMGs you should look for. Now, if you are a visa-seeking applicant, but you are a recent graduate, you probably have a good shot at FM also. So consider all these factors. From the data itself, it does look like less IMGs applications are being received at family medicine. Of course, after the match, we will see the number of spots. I think we need to superimpose this number of applications and the total number of spots in family medicine to see if the number of spots has drastically reduced, or is it just the application mix has been changing. So as you can see on this graph, the DO applications overall have been showing a slight increase, although the AMGs have been showing a decrease. So is it a mix of that or some other factor? We'll know soon.
All right. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see what's affecting that. Okay, so here's emergency medicine. And so you can see the orange there's the IMG. So it's on an upward trend per program. They received about 218 applications this season. The gray bar is the AMG. So that one is on a pretty steep downhill trend there per program. So that's interesting to see how emergency medicine is going to change going forward too.
Yeah, so for those of you interested in emergency medicine as an IMG, this data, this chart speaks volumes. I mean, as Sheila said, the AMG applications have been going down over the last, as you can see, 5-6 seasons. The DO applications have been on a rise, more or less, right? So the competition, if the American grads are not filling up the emergency medicine spots, it'll either be over the next few years filled up by DOs or IMGs. So if you are an IMG looking into emergency medicine, it's important to identify the type of rotations, the type of research positions that you can take that make your profile fit for an emergency medicine spot, because we do expect even in this season spots to show up in SOAP like they did in the last season. So if you're an IMG interested in emergency medicine, you got to start planning now. It looks like there will be opportunities in emergency medicine, although as you can see, the number of applications by IMGs has been on an upswing. So the competition from within the IMG community is going to increase as well.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting here in this year, the ERAS 2024, it's almost the same amount from each of the categories. Right. Yeah, it's going to be pretty even. So Okay, then we have neurology. As we were talking about, this one's on an upward trend mostly over the last 5 years for all 3 categories. So you kind of touched on this one being a pretty competitive specialty overall. So yeah, what can they look for the next year on this one?
Yes, so for those of you trying for neurology in the coming season, focus on research. And we do have several research options for you to consider. Neurology is looking a lot more into research, recent graduation, things like that. Because from the look of it, more IMGs are applying. Trend has been more competition from all the 3. So research, and of course you do need to have clinical experiences, so the 3 rotation 3 or 4 months, but yes, research is becoming more important in neurology for those of you applying for next season.
Okay, I think we have a couple more. So pediatrics is our next one, kind of a slight downward trend for all 3 of them actually. DO is a little bit up and down. But AMGs and IMGs kind of on a downward trend. So that'll be interesting again to see how that kind of plays out. It's not a big trend though, kind of the same.
Yeah, it's not been a big change, I would say. The growth has not been that much in pediatrics, or the competition within the IMGs or otherwise has not been much. So, maybe good opportunities for those of you who want to do pediatrics, but always had a question, is it too competitive and all? Of course, the number of spots is one factor. So pediatrics has less number of spots than than internal medicine. I'm sorry. Neurology has less number of spots than IM. But here, what we are looking at is the average applications received per program. So if you consider within pediatrics, it's about almost the same, maybe slight reduction in the 5 years. So good news if you are interested in pediatrics, at least the competition has not gone up.
Right, true. Okay, then psychiatry. So this one, same thing you can see is pretty much trending down, similar trend with pediatrics, although the AMGs are trending up. So it'd be interesting to see how the match season plays out for this one too, to see how is it becoming more AMG friendly? What's kind of happening here? Is it a constant trend? What's going to change for the next season?
So psychiatry has been over the years, as the data shows, has been becoming more AMG friendly, or more AMGs are going into psychiatry. More DOs seem to be going into psychiatry. So it is becoming harder overall for IMGs to match into psychiatry. And even, maybe that's a chicken and egg, right? So less IMGs are applying. But again, it does not mean that you cannot match into psychiatry. Psychiatry looks at relevant research. So psych and neuro go hand in hand in terms of research. Psychiatry is looking at step 3, recent graduation. So, if you are interested in psychiatry, you can set up time with Shaila and other team members, and we can guide you. But overall, psychiatry has become more competitive.
Right. Yeah, we can definitely talk about what you would need to help you stand out. Okay, I think this is our last category here is pathology. So you can kind of see an upward trend for IMGs over the last few years again. And it's definitely, as of now, IMG heavy on the applications, but it looks like AMGs are also increasing over the last 5 years too, and DOs.
Pathology has been primarily over the last 5-6 years dominated by IMGs. A lot more IMGs are applying pathology. Has been an IMG friendly specialty, but 5 years ago there was a perception that it is easier to get in, but as the data shows here, you do have competition in pathology, which is increasing. So pathology does like obviously relevant experience, but if you have home country experience in pathology, if you have a home country residency, if you have a PhD in related field, I think you got a good shot in pathology.
Okay, great. Okay, and then this slide just kind of shows a summary. I think we've gone over each of these, but basically just a summary for each one. We talked about emergency medicine had a large increase, primarily due to the number of vacancies last year. So it'll definitely be interesting to watch this over the next couple of years to see, is it a becoming more IMG friendly? Is it a trend that's going to happen more spots, or is it just kind of a fluke from last year? That'll be interesting to watch. Family medicine kind of overall decreasing, which is really interesting over all three. So it'd be good to see that too as well. Is that going to continue? Is there other factors that play into it? Does it make it less competitive? We'll have to kind of keep our eye on that one. And then neurology, same opposite of family medicine, kind of been trending upwards for all three over the last few years. So that one's definitely going to be more competitive. And like Juan mentioned, adding research is something that'll help you stand out in neurology. Then pediatrics pediatrics been kind of steady, but slightly decreasing over the last few years. So it'll be interesting to watch that one as well. And then psychiatry, again, is going to be more research focused. It's becoming more AMG. There's been more AMG interest in it. So we'll see how that one also trends, and interested to see how the match plays out in for this season. And then pathology, same thing, always an upward trend, largely IMG filled in the past few years, but AMGs are becoming more interested in it. So we'll be interesting to continue to watch that one as well. So is there any other thoughts or tips you wanted to add on here?
What this data shows is, giving you an overview of various specialties. So my advice would be for those of you starting to think about applying next season, plan well, right? So this would be the time when you have to look at this and say, okay, should I be going for family medicine, or whatever specialty, right? Pediatrics, IM, whatever is the interest, plan for that specialty given this data. So consider your scores, consider your interest, and some of these factors that can help you then become a very strong applicant next season. And like I said, if you need help, get in touch with us. We can work with you and identify the specialty that'll fit your profile and be a good fit.
Yeah, exactly. And then I wanted to throw out that we have done another video that's on the Sarthi trends specifically this season. We kind of just took a look at how the interview offers have been going so far. So take a look at that video too, to kind of see what our students are up to and what the trends are looking like for our students. Okay, great. So that's kind of our analysis. We're glad that you're able to join us. Hopefully that was helpful and gave you some good insights. We're definitely here to help you and answer any questions that you have about the match. If you have applied this year and you've gotten interviews or you're waiting to get interviews, we are happy to help you. So we have our silver interactive plans, or our silver interview preparation plans. We have interactive or on demand, and those include classes where you get to practice answering questions, you get feedback. You get kind of those kinks out while you're practicing answering questions. Our interactive plan includes a free mock with Puan. You get to actually go through the interview process and get some feedback. Our on-demand plan includes an AI recorded mock. So you would record yourself and get feedback on how that goes. And then also, of course, all of our students get mentorship sessions with Puan. You get access to our interview insights, our Sarthi community, all of those things to be really helpful. So check out our website for more about our interview plans. And then for those of you who are applying next season or even the next season after that, we would be happy to guide you from the start. We do mentorship sessions. We have physicians that can guide you on what to do, what research is best, what rotations are going to be best. We do personal statement and CV reviews and edits. And then we do, of course, you'd have the interview practice sessions, the mock interviews all included in that, a personalized list of programs. All of our students get that list that's customized to your profile to help you choose where to apply. So definitely check out our website for our platinum, gold, and bronze plans, which are opening up for next season. And we'd be happy to guide you through your whole journey.
Well, thank you very much, Sheila. Very interesting data. And for those of you who need help, here's our contact information. get in touch with us and we'll be happy to help you for the next season or this season.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that video provided valuable insights for your journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And check out our website for details on how we can guide you to a successful match.